I'm in my kitchen and I brought out some things to show you. Okay, so here are just a few of my craft supplies. So I starting with the sewing machine. I got all these. All these sewing machine feet, and this is a Kenmore, very dusty Kenmore. There we go. We got this at Sears, obviously, and because that's where you buy Kenmore stuff. Actually, my partner thought we were actually buying vacuum cleaner bags at Sears, and the vacuum cleaners were near the sewing machines. And he said that he wanted me to start sewing. I think this was, I don't even remember what year this was. It was probably it was more than 10 years ago, but I used it a couple times to hem pants or something, or shorts, and we had some old pajamas that the knees had holes in them, so I cut them off and turned them into pajama shorts, and that was about it. That was before I decided to start using it to do other projects, and I'm going to be making wallets and stuff as soon as I get the materials, and who knows what else. So that's that. Here's some of the. This is what the keychains actually look like before I start making, or before I turn them into keychains. They're just loose, obviously. And this is actually my lanyard maker from myfbm.com. What you do is you start these with it. You can make a lanyard keychain with these, but I don't like how loose they are when you make them with these. So I used to start them with my hand, just wrapping the lanyard around my fingers, but I find this to be so much faster. And I put these little U's in so I'd know which way the lanyard goes, because I want to be consistent. And then I have my friendship bracelet maker. It's a little dusty. That's what I use to make the friendship bracelets. There's one on there, and here's some patterns. And then from the same makers is My Circle of Creativity, which I used to make the Kumihimo bracelets. If I can open it with one hand. Let's put this down real quick. There we go. So this comes off. You can actually put your own patterns in there, but it has you can actually make keychains, these lanyard keychains with this attachment. And see, here are the patterns. And then under here, there's some lanyard, and then under this, I'm going to put it down again. Under that, there are pegs that you use to keep the embroidery floss from just free floating, but I find it really hard to use those. And then here's some embroidery floss that came with it. And then I have my Beadalon tassel maker. And then here's all my jewelry stuff. I've got these are the 7 chakra bracelets, and I didn't bring it out. I have the Buddhist beads, or Buddha beads, and then here are the wood beads that I use. And this is what that is. And then I have this board that you can make it with, and I have another one underneath. And then this one down here is for necklaces. And then moving along, here's all my embroidery floss. Let's see. There we go. All my embroidery floss. and there's so much more. Then I have my toolbox with all my tools. There's all my crochet hooks, and there's some wooden knitting needles. There's some elastic. More of these bracelets. There's glue sticks, which I never use for anything. Just random stuff. There's stitch markers for knitting. And then all my tools that I use to do whatever. And then the plastic lanyard stud earrings. That's where whenever I cut off all my excess when I make the keychains, I save the bits and I use them to make the earrings. See, here's one I cut them a certain length, and then that's how I make the stud, or that's what I used to make the stud earrings. And they're in a little Halloween thing. Let's see what else. There's my yarn. Here's a sock in progress, still on the knitting needles. And speaking of knitting needles, here are, which I've actually made a video about. These are the circular needles that I bought from Wish. And let's see, this is earring stuff, beads, and just random stuff. Over here, here's the Miyuki Delica beads that I used to make those, like that Wonder Woman bracelet. And then here's all my paracord stuff. Here's the paracord jig, and there's a lot of paracord. I mean, not a ton, but so I do a lot of crafts. I do sewing, make the keychains, embroidery. I actually do embroidery. The bracelets with the embroidery floss, the Kumihimo bracelets with the embroidery floss, tassels, knitting, socks, beaded bracelets, necklaces, and this is my yarn winder, and you name it. If I haven't learned it, I will learn it. I'm just very crafty, and I love to craft, and that's just the way I've always been since I was a kid. When I was a kid, my mom bought a latch hook kit for both of my sister and I, and we did paint by numbers and stuff like that, and I just really got into it, and I didn't really get back in. We were into it when we were little, like 7 through 10 or whatever. But as we got older, my parents stopped buying the stuff for us to craft with. But and I learned to do these keychains in the Cub Scouts when I was 9. But I decided when I turned 18, I wanted to start crocheting. So I started crocheting on. I don't even have any of the yarn out. I have a ton of yarn, and I have tons of this stuff. So it's just too much to bring out. This is my dining room table. It's filled with all these craft things, and I'm gonna have to put them all back. But anyway, so when I turned 18, I wanted to learn to crochet, and I learned to crochet, and I learned to knit. And then in my early 30s, I decided to start doing this again. How old was I? I think I was 30. Yeah, I was 30, 31 or 32 when I decided to start making these. But I still didn't know how to make it with the 4 strands. I was only doing the 2 strands, and I gave up after a while for maybe a decade, I think. And then all of a sudden I started doing it again in my early 40s. Now I'm 47, and I'm still doing all these crafts, all of them. So I'm and that's why I have an Etsy shop, which is gaynerd.etsy.com. And the Gay Nerd is obviously after the name of my book, Diary of a Gay Nerd. So I created the Etsy shop because I didn't want to make money for a living. I just wanted to be able to craft and, but not have to keep it, craft and then just sell it to someone. Because I love to craft, but where am I going to put everything that I craft? So, it's better to just make something to sell. And then I started my Etsy shop with just the keychains, and then I started making the stud earrings, and then somebody suggested the bracelets, and so I started making these bracelets. Someone suggested the paracord. Eventually, I just started making bracelets and necklaces, and then the Kumihimo, someone suggested that. So it's just grown, and actually the knitting, I haven't sold any of the knitting because I'm still kind of new at knitting, and I just don't want to sell anything that I knit. I want to keep it because I started this in December, and it's been too hot, and I haven't really been up into it, so I've just left it, and I'm going to start it up again when the weather cools down. It's still hot. We're in the middle of September. Anyway, so this is my craft stuff, and yeah. So these aren't crafts. These are for my bicycle. My little patches. My patch kit. And then a teapot. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to let you go, and I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.